Darwin once said, with me, the horrid doubt always arises whether the conviction of man's mind, which have been developed from the mind of the lower animals, are of any value or trustworthy. Would anyone trust the conviction of monkey's mind? This is this is not only hilarious, but this is horrendously true. If you want to believe in Darwin's theory of evolution, Darwin himself made an astounding statement, question mark. Even if he's the one who actually developed the whole theory of the naturalism, the the weak evolves, becomes stronger and stronger, etc., to become mankind. And unbelievable that that so many there are some sectors of scientific community accept that, but some, definitely some, a lot of them don't accept it either. But Darwin himself is having this horrible thought: how can whether this conviction of man's mind, if you say you are evolved from the mind of the lower animals, can you trust that? Is that trustworthy? Can you really trust the conviction of monkey's mind, so to speak? This is essentially Darwin is saying essentially the same thing Haldane is saying. So here Darwin essentially worked on naturalistic presuppositions. Naturalistic presuppositions. Here we have an example of Darwin, the great naturalist, having problems with what about the thoughts in our mind? Can we accept it then? Can you accept the thoughts in your mind? The reason is that it's if that's the case, evolution, then the reason would have grown out of non-reason. Can we think that reason grew out of that which is merely material? So this is C.S. Lewis asking the question. So the act of thinking is a crucial step for both the naturalist and the supernaturalist. The act of thinking that we do not want to result in having a reductionistic thinking. Lewis asks us to consider what we are doing when we think obviously it is an event, but what kind of event is it? The naturalist, supernatural give two separate answers. The naturalist says the thinking results because of motion of atoms in my brain. So this is naturalist. So I concord reason. My mind is reasoning, and naturalists say that the reason for your reasoning is the motion of the atoms in your brain, in your mind. So how could anybody, how convincing is that to think that your reasoning power comes from the motion in your brain? Supernatural says differently. The natural and the supernaturalist says thinking logically going down is this is a rational thinking. It's not simply a cause and effect event. So the question arises: how did reason originate? The naturalists say the reason originated from the process of natural selection. C.S. Lewis said our thoughts, in that case, cannot be rational, because at one time in our ancestors, our ancestors were not rational. They were simply subjective events. So for Lewis, who pays such attention to reason in mere Christianity and their fatality taste, the basis for indirect method is the reason must be our starting point if you're going to talk about naturalist. About the miraculous, at some point you have to address the reason, the subject of reason. What is it? Does it consist of real insights, or is it simply the result of motion and chemical reactions in our brain? So Lewis says that no, it's not the motion in our brain. The reason is a starting point. There can be no question either of attacking or defending it by treating it as a mere phenomenon. You put yourself outside of it. Okay, so reasoning, is from our supernatural God-given ability to think.